Recording in progress.
Okay. So welcome everybody to the Board of Selectmen meeting for July 6, 2023. It is 7:54 p.m. I apologize for the late start. We had a couple of executive sessions prior to this that ran a little longer than what we were expecting. So I do apologize for that. Can I have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Okay, first thing on the agenda was a discussion about decorating Veterans Park with Veterans Council Parks and Holiday Decorating Committee. Holiday Decorating Committee and Parks said they would not be showing. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
Maybe Jim McKeon?
Yeah.
But he will not make a comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, with that, Veterans Council brought a concern to me and would like to have been put on the agenda to be heard. We did so. I think their concern should be addressed to Parks and the Holiday Decorating Committee. Their concern was with the decorating of Veterans Park. With that said, we don't control what's going on in the parks. We have a parks department for that. And, if the Veterans Council has a concern, they should really be taking it up with Parks and the Decorating Committee.
So maybe that's why they're not here?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they did ask to be put on the agenda
Okay.
and said we would put them on the agenda. Did anybody have any questions about that?
Pretty cool.
No.
They do a good job.
Yeah. They do great. Okay, moving on. Discussion and possible vote for a reappointment of Mildred A. Gashu as the parking clerk for a one-year term.
I'll make a motion. Okay. I'll make a motion to reappoint Mildred A. Gushu as the parking clerk for 1 year term.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Okay. Discussion and possible vote to enter into a contract with Tecton Architects for the purpose of conducting a Phase 1 financial feasibility study to construct a new public safety municipal complex.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you this evening is a contract and also a booklet of information from Tecton Architects. Tecton Architects was the successful bidder for the RFP that went out, that was issued to conduct a financial feasibility study for the potential of building a public safety / municipal complex. When we received the applicants back on June 21st, we formed an internal committee ranking. Even though there was only one respondent, we still reviewed the proposal. And the committee, which was made up of myself, police chief, fire chief, the accountant, and a resident, Kathy Banis, who served on it, all overwhelmingly was excited by what was being proposed, ranked this company very high, and liked the approach in the past projects that this company has performed, and the success in other communities in Massachusetts that this company has done. With regards to the scope of the RFP, there's certain areas in which Tecton or the respondent is going to be potentially assessing. They're going to do a space needs assessment first, which will be drafted through a plan that will be interviews with stakeholders, police, fire, myself, in the community with regards to the buildings, kind of do an analysis of how much space is actually needed to operate all three. They'll do an assessment on that. They'll review, they'll have a draft document which includes a written report describing space needs of the police, fire, and municipal offices with comparison to the current space and identification of future growth. That's key here, it's future growth. A lot of municipalities will build something and then 10 years later, they have to they run out of space. So key is future growth to identify that. So we don't have to go back to the drawing board 10 years later. A written room detail report identifying specific requirements for each individual program space. So if we have, for example, a Milo training room for the police, how much space is actually needed to have that there? If you have a booking room for the police, how much space is needed and required to be there? So they will do those analysis. A review of relevant standards and best practices, including any accreditations that may be required from the town to obtain, any ADA and applicable building codes, review of the owner's findings, and then finally revisions and finalizations of the program report. From there, they will go to site evaluation and test fits. As indicated, the respondent is going to look at 3 potential sites from the town's perspective. They will do an evaluation of the preferred site using GIS and on-site observations. They will do a site test fit options for a preferred site. If a preferred site proves unable to support the program needs, then up to 2 additional alternate sites will be looked at. They'll do preliminarily any environmental evaluations, very preliminary. Preliminary geological borings, up to 3 to 5 borings geologically. They will prepare a report of site conditions and any potential development impacts, and then they will obviously come back to the town and review those findings with the town. The next phase of this process, they will do a preliminary schematics and conceptual design. This is not to be confused with any type of design or design phase. This is very preliminary schematics. So this will just be conceptual drawings, including site development plans, building plans, high-level furnishings, any exterior elevations, sections, and proposed building systems narratives. They'll look at energy efficiency and sustainability design analysis, communication tools, including any type of very preliminary renderings, and periodic design reviews with the owner. So again, they will report back to us on their findings, and they are not they're not the potential designers. They are just, again, this is all preliminary stuff for a feasibility study. A design phase would be a whole other phase. And finally, the report will consist of cost estimates and cost evaluations, okay? So you'll get an actual determination, well, how much is this going to cost? What is the impact of the tax rate for the residents if they were to do something like this. You will have these questions answered by all of this analysis that has already been conducted. So you'll see the tax implications. You'll see the value of liquidating and replacing the current buildings. You know, there's a value to that. So if the town was able to, say, turn this into residential condos and sell this building and get it back on the tax rolls, just as an example, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but there's a value to that and the potential value that could be brought to offset the cost of a complex. There could be a value of liquidating the police and the fire stations. You know, there's a value there for future use. They will also look and assemble a comprehensive report of all the costs and all the financial piece. This is key to the grant that we received. So the grant that we received from the state was based on the financial impacts of a potential project like this. So this is very key to coincide with our grant, our community compact grant that we were allotted $40,000 for. So all the financial analysis, all this has to be done in order to tell you how much the end ticket price will be. So this will help us get that financial impact. And then also, the company will make community presentations to its leadership team, and also in 3 community presentations in its entirety. So reaching out to the community. So if they had one in Warren and West Warren, so that the residents could see, you know, the presentation from this company. If you look at their track record, they've got a pretty extensive track record with projects ranging from neighboring communities such as Munson, Wilbraham, North Brookfield, Charlton. So they've been in this business for quite some time. They seem reasonable to work with, and the price we thought was relatively, you know, within the range of the going market. And their price was $75,600 was their price. And so how we had proposed to tackle that and to pay for it was the $40,000 from the Community Compact Grant, and the remaining balance would be from ARPA funds that we have some left over. So it's no cost essentially to the taxpayers to have this study done.
Mm-hmm.
And that they could complete this study within a 6-month period.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
So, can we get a copy of the proposal?
It's right there, yeah. I'm
But this-
sorry, we only had, the chiefs
No, it's
have,
right there.
each have it.
Oh, okay, because I got like financial statements,
Right,
which is
right.
like whatever.
Right.
So, okay.
They did some beautiful buildings in there.
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
Well, inside the proposal, they showed all the buildings that they have done. They did a significant amount of work within Massachusetts. And they seem to be specializing in public safety complexes and municipal work. And they've put what the proposed budgets were, the budget of the building was and stuff, and what level of work they've done.
Oh, I drive by this one.
Is that the Natick one?
The West Natick Fire Station.
Yeah, they don't use it.
Oh, they don't?
No. We were just talking about that.
Really? Look
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, that's the one that the mall paid to help build.
Wow. So my other question is the 3 sites. Have the 3 sites already been determined, or they're going to determine,
No,
they're gonna do the?
They're gonna ask.
They're gonna ask you.
They're gonna ask us for these sites.
they're gonna ask
Oh,
you for the
okay.
sites,
And then
so-
they're on the hook to evaluate one for sure, and then the other 2 maybe? Is that how it works?
Well, it's up to 3. So I mean,
Okay.
you know, if for example, there's
Yeah, max 3.
if there's one, if you provide one, and I'm just using this as an example, the land that the town owns next to the highway barn, if that comes out and it's unbelievable and every, you know, it works and it fits all the categories and all the boxes, and the town is satisfied with that, well, then there may not be necessarily a need to do 2 other
Yeah.
sites.
Okay.
But if for some reason you're not 100% sold on it, or you wanted to have a comparison, well, then they'll say, okay, give us two additional sites that we'll do.
Yeah, okay.
But that's what drives the cost, is every site that they look at, they will, that's what, they can go up to 3. So if you did 4, the price would change, it would go up.
Okay, we get 3 sites
You get
for
3.
75.
You
Okay.
get 3.
All right. Do we get a refund if we only do
No,
one?
I don't think so.
Nice try.
So, I mean, it would be good to maybe identify 3 sites, just,
Mhm.
as
But
due
again,
diligence, right?
those sites are driven by the town. So,
Okay.
they're gonna say, okay, give us the locations and this is what we'll do.
Yeah,
Primarily, probably, preferably, you wanna look at town-owned land first, and then obviously, if it's privately owned land, you probably wanna keep it close to the vest in terms of disclosing the locations of, potential other land
right.
that's not owned by the town.
And so they've actually built public safety complexes. So,
They've done all phases, yeah.
because this is more of a planning study?
This is a study.
Yeah, as opposed to a design. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but they've also, designed them and.
Well, they
and
can be
built
on the
them.
side.
They can do the whole phase.
What they are not offering is construction documents.
Right.
Correct.
So we could bring them on again, potentially, in
Well,
another
that would
process.
be a whole nother public RFP.
Public
process.
RFP, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have any other questions?
No. I'm good.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. So I spent like 12 years doing this proposals. I still think we're not getting what we need to. There's no, they're not offering a feasibility study, they should come and tell us, this is what you have now, and to get to this point, this is what you need. And looking at your town, these are the sites that we think it will be better for you. Why do you need a new facility? Because, and that's the feasibility study where it tells you why are we, because otherwise it's just like, oh, I want a new car. And I need for 5 people. And I like red. Oh, here it is. That's what they're telling us. Oh, do you tell me where you want us to buy it? With the sites, referring to the sites. But they're not studying why do I need a car. So to be able to go out and ask for a grant, they're gonna come and tell us, oh, this is a beautiful building. $10 million, why do you need it?
Okay.
See there's a little, I read through the whole thing, and I just think they need to tell why is it that we need a new building? Not that they're offering, oh, this is your package, elevation, sections, a 3D model, this is what you get, this is how much cost. No, we want to know why do we need that? Why do you need that car? I just like it. No. There must be a reason why. And that analysis of the existing, the needs, and the new, it's what it's going to be a value to us to say, we'll go into a meeting and say, hey, this is what we're going to build. It's beautiful. It's $8 million and, here and there. And then someone's going to ask, why you need it? Where is that documentation that all the analysis where it says, you need this because you have a family of 5 and you work and you go here and you go there. Tell the story.
So they're gonna do an evaluation on space needs, is
They're
that?
gonna come and ask everybody, okay, chief, how many office do you need? Just like the process, how many cars do you have? How many fire trucks do you have? And I'll add that all up and come up with this building with areas and say, this is how much you need. What sites do you have? This and that. Oh, it doesn't fit. Oh, it fits on this one. By the way, it costs $8 million. But there's still that little simple thing where we can ask somebody to get the money, says, look, We are dying here because we did all this study that we are running really bad. Our police is in really bad shape. We have no building, we have no this. That's why we need a new building. Because we lack buildings, our buildings are old, small, and they can't perform as well. We need somebody to tell, not us, we can tell anything, but that's what we're paying here, to somebody to tell us what we need. You know, because we are running out of space, we're running out of, facilities, really.
Okay.
This one is just, oh, Rick, you want a car? Yes. So how many people do you need? Oh, 4. Okay. You like red, blue, or right? You know, how big is your garage? Okay, here it is. It costs this much. But the facility study has to tell you, why do you need that car? So when you go to the bank and say, hey, I want this car. I want money to buy this car. They're going to ask you why you need it.
Well,
Okay.
isn't that outside the scope of a feasibility study? Wouldn't that be a needs study?
No, the feasibility study will tell you why do you need that new building.
Is that in there?
That would be a separate study, that could be a separate, needs assessment study.
Right.
This study is purely on the
How
financial.
to achieve this?
How to achieve.
We already
what's
know
the
we
cost.
need a public safety.
We need it, but somebody has to come and say, a third party, and says, I look at Warren, I saw what they have, and they really need this.
I think that's a separate study outside the scope of this thing, because we've already known that we've needed a study, or we need a public safety complex, because the infrastructure that's already in place, the building, the old town hall, is not a police department. It's not a police station. It's not conducive for them to conduct operations in a safe manner. It's riddled with health risks, has asbestos all over it. There was 78 points of interest for asbestos. There was lead, mold, rodents, and it's just going to get worse because of the river. Okay? The fire department, they don't have a real fire department. They have a garage. It's not a fire department. They have a garage with an office in it. And they really need to have a fire department to store their equipment. They would need temperature controlled bays to store the ambulances, correct? To make sure that the ambulances are stored at the proper temperature because of medications and things that might be stored in there at the time. So there's a lot of stuff in there. They're also growing way beyond their capacity of what they have within their current building. They don't have enough room to store their equipment. And having 2 stations that are really small still doesn't take what one adequately designed complex could do for them.
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Somebody who comes at, this is great, don't take me wrong, this is really good. I'll go and buy it and say all the time, but we need them to tell us why we need that building.
But I think that's a different study. That's not this study. This study in the RFP.
With this is gonna happen like in a lot of other municipalities where they come out with a building, hey, we're gonna do this building, vote for it. Why? Just stay there where you are. Where is that?
Well, that's where it's up to us to get the word out. It's up to us to make the presentation and the needs of why this is. It's up for us to advocate for the chiefs and the employees, saying, hey, they're not working in conditions that
We need somebody to tell us
Inflation.
that. We can say it, we know it, we all know it, but we need some.
we could always have somebody come in and do that. But the
They
scope,
can do that.
the scope of work was not within that one, right?
Correct.
That was not what was the RFP was designed for, is for this particular one.
So I think Selectman Veliz makes some great points. And in some of the areas that they're going to look in as well is they're going to look at, condensing of the buildings. So they're going to look at, if you condense them, what are the potential savings and the costs that you would save, whether it be energy, insurance, maintenance, all of those costs as part of the financial analysis that this organization is going to do. They're going to, they're going to have that as part of their presentation and part of their research. So there's going to be a reason there why it would make sense to go this route for the future. Energy costs continue to climb. You're looking at insurance costs, repairs to the existing buildings, maintenance, routine maintenance to older structures, coupled with the old previous reports that were conducted prior to this, onslaught of the thought of a public safety complex. You had, I've seen reports in the histories, in the archives of, an architect saying that there was issues there, engineering reports saying that there was issues there, the building commissioners saying that there's issues there. So those reports, that level of assessments there would have to be all combined as part of a report to a town meeting. And so you have those assessments that have already been done, saying that there's issues with the building. Now we're trying to somewhat repair or stabilize the building so that we can keep the police there in the short term until something can get done. So I think, you're not going to have an outright assessment as to why, but you'll see, and you can point to some of the points here, whether it be the consolidation piece or the previous piece of all those other assessments that you've had in the past. I think
if
that
we
you can
all, like
say
a
that.
group, can make sure that happens in here, because the way I read it over there is just like, so how many rooms do you want? Okay, this is your house, and it fits on this site, and here's how it's gonna look. That's what they offer in there.
Right.
But if we can make them all, work together to have that, and so we can justify it. Otherwise, it's just gonna go to the dealer, get a quote for a beautiful sport car, go to home and, hey, I wanna buy this car. No.
Right.
We're gonna end up spending 75 grand, and we can't do anything because it doesn't justify itself.
Mhm.
If we can have that, what you just said about the analysis of, okay, yeah, we're gonna save on all these buildings, we could sell them, this is the value, and do all that configuration.
On the last step, I think it.
It's very vague, it's
Yeah,
very,
it said that,
it's
yeah.
very vague, but they're shooting at, I'm gonna make a beautiful building for you, here it is, this is how it looks. That's everything you want. But we really need them to tell us what we need and why.
So I think you could, when they have the resident tax impact evaluation.
Well, that's it, they're gonna say it's $10 million. You
Right.
figure out how much the taxes go up.
Right.
It-
And so they'll look at, the impact there, but they'll also have, as they had mentioned here before, the evaluation of the value of liquidating replacement of the properties. So, the replacement and the impact of the properties, the insurance, the maintenance, the constant repair.
That's where we have to emphasize, because that document, those set of drawings they're gonna give us, not construction drawings like they mentioned over there, it's the one that has to justify. So wherever we go to the White House begging for money to do this, why do you want it? Well, here's everything why, and just hand it.
Mhm. Well, on the same token, when you ask for money, they're gonna say, well, how much does it cost?
It's right there.
So they're gonna want a report of,
We need to have something in the process, in the queue, saying, again, what it's gonna cost. Have we done any studies? Do we have any
You got a
locations?
site plan?
A feasibility study is one of the big thing that they look for. And then, do you have, building designs on it? How far are you in this? Where are you at in this project? We're in the early phases of the project. We've identified a need. We do have a need, unless, am I forgetting something? Do you guys not need a public safety complex anymore? Is that still on the table?
Careful, this is on record.
No,
So there's definitely a need. You know, we have to have this, because again, fire department has a need, they're growing out of their buildings, the infrastructure is aging. They have newer, better equipment, which we need to invest in to take care of. And, you know, same thing with police department.
Because really,
they
what
have is
I want
not
them,
a police department.
what I want them to come and tell us is what we need, not what we want. We can have a big wish list, but they realistically have to come and tell us, well, because we see this, this is what you will need.
Well, if, say for example, you know, we have, and I'm just using this as an example, and they're gonna be two separate entities here. You know, you have a public safety municipal complex, okay? Two separate things, but I'm just using this as an example, okay? So you look at these offices in this building, okay? They're all old schoolrooms. I mean, is there, you know, some offices, most offices, have one staff person in the entire room. Yeah, I mean, is that energy efficient to have a huge office that's 850 square feet, to have one person in a room?
No.
No, so there's going to be savings, and there's going to be an analysis that needs to be done, that we probably don't need all this space here.
Exactly, that's what we want to have them do it. We could tell them, we can say it, we know it, but we need someone, a facilities study to tell us, this is what we need, and this is why.
I agree.
So we all have, if we're gonna spend the 75 grand, we have to all, you know, really get our hands on it and have those answers from them. Not come and say, oh, what you need is a Volkswagen with 5 doors. Because that's not what we're asking.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
But the question is, do we ask for that in an RFP?
Well, it's very vague over here, if you read it, and what they are offering.
These were the areas in which we looked for, you know, space assessment needs, okay? Site evaluations and test fits, preliminary schematics, you know, what it would look like in cost estimates evaluations. So these were what, you gotta understand what exactly space we need, you know.
Mhm.
We may need more space in the fire because, you know, of the elongated trucks that are coming down the pike, that they're building, that are longer, bigger, wider. And our current building doesn't have that, so we may need a longer bay. So they're gonna look at all of that, and again, if you look at it and you say, okay, well, we're gonna need a 50-foot bay versus, you know, what we have now is a 40-foot bay, and the reason why is because, you know.
No, that is all good.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we still have to propose or come up with these sites. You know, when we usually do a feasibility study for this, you know, they look all around and search for the sites, and they actually will come and say, we recommend this site. That actually meets all the requirements. Then it's us if we can get that site.
Well, we need to know. I'm sure they're not gonna go out there and looking at private property owners asking about their site and evaluating their site. We'd have to look at municipal sites first. What do we own as a town that we could fit this on? We don't really know that until they say, how much space do we need? You know, so when they do their assessment and say, okay, basically what your needs are, you're gonna need a building this big. This is what acreage you're gonna need to do this. And, you know, where are you gonna accomplish this? Do you have this property like this that we can use? And, you know, we'd have to go through the assessors and see what we actually own.
So if
That's not a wetland or on the side of a mountain, or
if we don't have a site, this
then
goes
we have to
nowhere?
look at private entities.
I'm just saying, if we don't have a site where we can fit this building, we're doomed. We're stopped right there. That's where the feasibility study has to tell us what to do. They have to recommend us, look,
Right.
you don't have bigger sites, we recommend that you do police and fire together, do this. Because we can come up with all these ideas, but we can't propose the ideas. Someone else has to tell us, so it's on them. What I propose is, we're all on this, we're gonna work together to make that 75 grand value, and we can get something for the town to start moving around, but we have to work with it.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is where we start. I think with the needs assessment, we already identified the needs. Yes, it would be nice to have somebody present for us. And that's probably something we can look at and say, what is the real need for this?
They have to
In
be
another
ready.
study, and say, hey,
If somebody comes and says, why do you need this new building? You're working fine.
and typically what would happen is you would have a public safety committee, and they would do all that and do the background on it and say, hey, why do you need this, chiefs? You know, what's the problem? Okay, is it gonna cost the town this much money to do this, to fix up this building, or this much money to just build a new one? And they're gonna touch on that too, is look at it, is say, hey, you know, where it kind of overlays, is they're gonna look at what we have for already existing buildings and consolidating that into a public safety, and how the energy efficiency is gonna come, meets the requirements by the you know, the departments, and assesses that. So, you know, I think the needs part, we've already said that. You know, we've had chiefs coming in here saying for a long time, we need a new building, we need someplace safe. You know, we got it from the union. The union put us on notice about their building, okay? The building commissioner put us on notice about the old town hall. Same thing with the engineering report done in 2001, and then the other one that we just did in 2022. Is it 22 or 21?
21.
21. So 20 years later, said the same thing, except it got worse, you know? And their recommendation was gonna cost approximately, what, $11 million to fix up a building, to fix up an old building. And it's still not a police station, or a public safety complex, or a fire department. It's just fixing up one building that still doesn't meet the requirements.
I just want
for
all
many
of us
them.
in sync, so we
Yeah.
don't end up with here's your beautiful building.
This is just the next phase of it, where we know we have to do this.
Yeah.
And it's just getting this done so we could start really maneuvering the financial aspect of it, getting grants, getting, you know, looking at different financial options out there that we can get money to do this. Because the residents can't do it all on taxes, you know? We're working a strict budget. And I know we got Ray over
We
there,
can
he's
still-
like, oh,
they-
you're gonna.
They can still come up with a $35 or $40 million building.
But,
Well, I think what you're looking for is maybe in this space needs assessment, they can give us, they can do that and wrap in the justifications of what we need.
Yes, I
and
want
why
them to
we
look at
need.
what we have, what we need, and what we can actually could have.
Yeah.
That's the very important way, because
yeah, they do say that in
the way they put it there is gonna ask us how many people in the car will go, okay, here's the car that you wanna have. It's a lot of work, I'm telling you, because I've been for many years doing this on that side, and the other party has to work hard with them to get what we want. So
Well, that's why we're all part of the project and we all give input. So if say, Chief Millette turns around and says, I need a 2,000 square foot office, and they put that in front of us, and we're looking at it like, I don't know, 2,000 square foot office? Why? Obviously, you're not getting a 2,000 square foot office.
those are small details. Yeah, he can have a nice office, but I really want the town to get that feasibility study where it's gonna tell anybody, this is why we need this. Not because they did an assessment on how many offices and cars we have, and this is what we should be at, is what we need, so.
Yeah, yeah, I think we should be able to get that from these.
Good.
So, I have a question, they rejected our performance bond?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, that's happened twice now with,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of pushback from Weston and Sampson?
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
So I think we need to look at that and
Mhm.
decide, maybe it's not written properly in the bylaw, or,
Yeah, you know,
'cause, I
it's-
mean, this is like a big pushback on that, you
Mhm.
know, so.
they've supplied their financials in replace of him, even though it's not a performance bond. You know, it's a feasibility study. If it was a, actual drawings,
Architectural designs.
architectural designs and plans and engineering things, I would maybe caution, the town about that, but,
Yeah.
this is just a feasibility study.
And they're not building anything, they're just.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a concept.
For construction documents and permits
Yeah.
and that, yes, but this, I think it's okay.
I mean, but to Selectman Iacker's point, I think, maybe the town would wanna look at that bylaw at some point.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question? What's a performance bond? What is it they rejected?
What, so, if somebody came in and built.
First of all, who rejected?
The Tecton, they declined to
Okay.
get a performance bond.
Okay, what does that mean?
So if a company came in and built something, say they put an addition on the building,
Yep.
you get a performance bond in case they didn't finish it or they screwed it
Okay.
up, that would be able to cover, us then fixing what they didn't do. But the thing is, these guys aren't doing construction, they're doing just an evaluation and some conceptual plans.
So it's kind of like not applicable.
Right.
Right.
It's not applicable, but, they were the only bidder, so I mean, it's not like one person supplied a performance bond and this person did not.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it's.
So,
Thanks.
if they got halfway through the process and bailed out, we would be able to go after them on a contractual basis,
Okay.
but we wouldn't actually have money sitting in a pot somewhere, which is what you want with construction.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So, are you guys good with this, or do you want a week to review it?
I'm good with it. Yeah.
We should get the ball moving.
Yeah.
I agree, And it's all standard documents, so.
Motion?
Are you good? Did you have anything to add?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to enter into a contract with Tecton Architects for the purpose of conducting a Phase 1 financial feasibility study to construct a new public safety / municipal complex.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. And you have the original for us all to sign?
Coming your way.
Yep. It's one of those ask and you shall receive. Okay. Okay, discussion and possible vote on use of $35,600 of American Rescue Plan Act funds to cover the additional costs associated with the financial feasibility study for public safety / municipal complex. Okay. With that, I know we were discussing ARPA funds for that, but we actually have grant money that's put to the side for covering these costs. And we have,
Yep. You mean matching grant?
yeah,
Yeah, but we only have like 20,000 in that account.
we have $102,189.
So this matching grant funds wouldn't apply for this?
It's not a
because
match.
this is not a match grant.
So we can't use that.
No.
Right.
Okay. Well, that answers that then. You know, it would have been nice if we could use that instead of ARPA. So-
Yep.
But because this is a study,
Well, no, because it was the original grant that we got from the state wasn't a match. It was just they gave us $40,000.
Yeah.
That was based off of estimates that, at the time that, when we got the grant, that we thought maybe the cost would be somewhere around there. Obviously, costs have gone up. This is now, the grant was originally applied for last fall.
so it wasn't written as a matching grant.
No,
Or offered.
it wasn't offered as a matching grant.
Okay. All right. All right. I guess that settled that.
Yeah. So we're gonna end up with 27,600 for so available balance.
Yeah.
For allocated. I guess we still have a lot outstanding sort of with the
So,
submitted part
yeah,
under this, huh?
The outstanding projects are, number one, big ones are the grit screw, is a big piece of machinery truck from the highway department, a Western Star plow truck.
Well, that's already, they got that, right?
No, that's the Western Star.
Yeah, they have that truck. It's parked in their front parking lot.
That's the F-550
This is highway truck.
Oh, highway.
highway, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Western Star is on order, and it should be, from what last I spoke with Jeremy, sometime this fall. So,
But we paid for it, or we have
we have
a,
not paid for it.
but we have a quote for 144?
We have an agreed upon price.
Okay, so that won't change.
Right.
Okay, because that would be a big problem.
So, actually, it's more than 144. So, it's, I think he had gotten an article written at one of the meetings, town meetings, in the past, and he has had the funds in an article. And instead of going after free cash or trying to do a raise and appropriate, we're trying to take care of this with the ARPA funds so that it would have less impact on the taxes.
Yeah, no, this is what ARPA's for. Right?
So,
And the grit screw, I thought that was paid for.
it's not done. I mean,
How much longer?
it hasn't even started.
I know, like, what is going on?
What?
It's been delayed for making of the grit screw. The actual machinery of the grit screw there's been a delay in the manufacturer. And they're hoping, the last that I had talked to Ty and Bond last month, they were hoping that they would start, some AK Industries would start some type of demolition, maybe the end of this month, beginning of next month. So the problem with this project from the get-go is it's a small project, and there's companies out there that are doing multi-million-dollar projects. So this particular project is, $200,000.
Yeah,
It's a small project, so they're gonna do it and squeeze it in, within their time frame, within the contractually. So we're monitoring it. No money has been paid out except for, the design, and there's some design and some tie and bonds, procurement aspect of it. They did the specifications and procurement of it. So some of that has been paid out. But other than that, the actual grit screw itself, has not been paid out.
because we have to be careful with this, because we have to use this money by a certain date.
Yeah, so you
Sometime
have
next
till.
year?
Yeah, next year, yeah,
2026.
yeah.
But for both of them?
Well, for it to be allocated, I believe, is next year and then spent
Okay.
by 2026.
Okay, all right, okay, so we still have a little.
So, there's still a couple projects outstanding, so the grid screw being one, the Western Star for the highway department being another. The dishwasher at the senior center will be addressed this summer. And the delay in that was Sharon had indicated that she wanted to do a stove and possibly another refrigerator. She has some funds down there that she wanted to use, so I suggested until she got all her funds together that she knows that she's gonna have, that maybe we could package the deal together to try to get a better pricing for, you know, if you're gonna buy a dishwasher, a stove, and a refrigerator, try to packages it together through a vendor, and you may be able to get a better price.
Yep.
So we're working on that this summer. And that's primarily, there's a bit of money left of the radio infrastructure project that is outstanding. That's got to get siphoned off, but is accumulated is figured into the final end balance here. And it's some smaller projects, but you know, if the board was to approve this tonight, you'd have, you know, the balance of about $27,000 left.
Okay. I'm good.
Okay, I'll make a motion to use
Very good.
$35,600 of the American Rescue Plan Act funds to cover the additional costs associated with the financial feasibility study for a public safety / municipal complex.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Okay. So review and possible vote on an updated cleaning proposal by Stephen Buffoon for temporary cleaning services for the town.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Before you this evening, as you know, we have a temporary cleaning services for this building, police, fire, senior center, highway. So what has transpired is that in May, when Mr. Buffon had put his original proposal together, I had indicated to him it would be temporarily, because I'm not sure what will transpire in the future, and I'm not sure if we could continue to afford this, and we only have money until June 30th to really do this, so he came to me towards the end of June and indicated to me that, you know, he wanted to kind of understand where he stood in terms of, you know, the temporary service. There is a continuing need, and with that, he had also indicated to me that the pricing needed to be adjusted. And so the original weekly cleaning bill was $400 a week. And that would be roughly $1,600 a month. This new proposal would be the same terms, but he wants to be at $675 a week. Again, temporarily. And, you know, that would equate to roughly about almost a little bit more than $1,000 more than what we are currently paying a month.
Are people happy have you heard of, you know, opinions about the work?
I've heard, I haven't heard anything negative. I have heard a couple people had indicated to me that they were pleased with his performance so far. Again, this is temporary, and you know, I said to Mr. Buffon, I said, you know, I can't, you know, give you an extension or you know, do anything, until I talk with the board and see what the board would like to do.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what is the, his initial price per week?
400. So, you know, it's something that you could certainly consider. Again, this is temporary. I'm not sure if it's going to be for 2 months or 3 months, or, you know, if it gets longer, you know, I would advise the board to probably, you know, if they want to continue on this service, maybe to issue an RFP at some point. But, you know, currently, right now, you know, I'm not sure how long the service this will be.
How does the board think that instead of cleaning 4 times a month, they clean 3 times a month? It doesn't get to the 1,600 a month, but something. It's like $400 more.
Can I ask what the chiefs think? Are you happy with this? Is it?
He's been doing a great job, and I was just telling Adam that back 2 maintenance guys ago, we had a temporary guy for a little while, and we were paying like $140 a week, which I think between the buildings comes out to $135. It's $675.
But yeah, if you
5
did it
buildings.
weekly, yeah. So if you did it weekly, you're, you know, 168.
Is that what it is? Oh, the math was a little off.
So you had somebody for 140 a week for just
Just
you?
mine.
I mean, I've never had anything negative said. I honestly, to be honest, I've never seen the scope of the work of what's supposed to be getting done. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we have 2 buildings. As far as I know, they only come to
It only comes to Station 1.
Station 1. So, I mean, I've just never seen what's supposed to be included in the weekly service, so.
Well, I mean, is your trash clean? Are your bathrooms clean? Is the floor clean?
I mean, the trash has never been something that's been done. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, I believe he comes in and does the bathrooms.
So the scope of work is empty trash, clean all bathrooms, toilets, sinks, mirrors, floors, and restock supplies. Clean kitchen areas and break rooms, sweep, vacuum all floors, carpets, mop all hard floors once a week, and spot clean windows, glass, and doors. And he does that for the police, fire, DPW, senior center. Senior center is done twice a week.
No, all of this is twice a week.
Oh, everything's twice a week,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Shepherd building is twice a week. Does the same thing.
As far as I know, I've seen him come in and do the bathrooms. I haven't seen any sweeping or anything like that. I didn't, again, not know the scope of what was supposed to be done. I've never seen any mopping of the upstairs or downstairs or trash we take care of from time to time. I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, everything he's done has been fine. I just didn't know what the extent of what was supposed to be getting done. So, I mean, it's a large building. I mean, if that's what's supposed to happen, I can certainly figure it out. I think, I mean, we've kind of done our own thing the whole time, so maybe the guys are doing a lot of it. Maybe it doesn't need to get done because that's what's happening and has happened in the past. So I assumed it was, bathrooms and that kind of stuff, and that was my understanding of it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if the fire department wants to, if they're gonna do their own, I mean, maybe I could get a cheaper price from the guy if you wanna do that.
I'm not complaining. I mean, he can come in and do what he's doing. It is helping us. I mean, it does. I mean, there are days that we don't get to it because they're out on call. So, I mean, I'd still rather have the service. I just didn't know if there was actually other things that were supposed to be done on top of that. That's all.
Yeah, all those things. Again, empty trash, clean all bathrooms, clean kitchen area, break rooms. You guys have break room, right?
Yeah, upstairs.
Cleans, should be cleaning that too,
Okay.
so.
I'll talk.
Sweep,
I'll talk to
vacuum.
him next time he's in, just to make sure that we're all on the same page.
I don't know, I'm fine with this. I think it's a fair price.
Yeah,
He's doing a lot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings twice a week is
He does quite a bit, and
This is
he's
a
been
big
doing
building.
a pretty good job,
Yeah.
you know. He's been doing good, and admittedly, he underbidded himself when he first went into it.
Yeah, it's
And
not
we were all
easy.
kind of surprised that he was gonna do it for so cheap.
Well, if we have the sources, I'd have no objection.
Yeah, that's the next thing. How are we funding this?
So, this would be temporarily, again, it's temporary service, out of the Shepherd Building expense, and then we would, assess where we are in the fall with a line item transfer. And then to see if we're going to continue down this path, then I would advise that we, have a permanent line item for it, at the annual. But if we're going to if our position changes in September, this company may be gone. So, it all depends on the town's situation, and that's one of the nice things about it. It's very flexible.
It's at will, right?
We can get out within a week or two.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta remember, we have a janitor,
Right.
and once he's back to work,
Right.
we won't need this anymore.
Right.
So-
So that's why it's temporary and
Right.
Until our position changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
I'm happy with his service. He's always here. He's doing it. He cleans. The bathrooms look good. I have no issue with it. He was underbid the first time. It'd be nice if he could stay on $400, and do all the buildings, but that was a lot of work, twice a week.
There was another example, and I'll just throw this out to you, and this is a fact, is that we recently had the room cleaned out for veterans, the holiday decorating room. And there had to be, no kidding aside, of all the Christmas trees that were in that room, and wreaths and different things, there had to be thousands upon thousands of pine needles that were left on the floor after they were, moved all of the Christmas trees out of there, or the wreaths out
12
of there.
million Christmas trees.
So I had asked Mr. Buffon while he was here, I said, that office wasn't really originally part of, what his scope was. I said, you don't have to do that office in storage. So I said, now it's empty. Now I got a room full of pine needles and ribbons and different things. He cleaned it up, and all of the pine needles are gone. He vacuumed it within an hour, and he charged the town $40. So, I mean,
That's awesome.
I thought it was realistic. I thought, it was very kind of him to do that right during his normal time. No, he could have said, hey, look, I gotta go service another client, or, he was done here, and, I just happened to catch him on his way out. I said, hey, would you mind, looking at something for me? Because I have Veterans Council going in there.
Let's make a motion.
Derek's ready.
He beat Derek up for it.
All right.
No, I just wanted to share that information
good
with the
guy.
board.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept an updated cleaning proposal from Stephen Buffon for temporary cleaning services for the town, and have Mr. Ferrera sign.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Long day, sorry. All right, warrants and bills.
Make a motion to pay the following warrants. Number 117, payroll, $78,942.77. Number 1, payroll, $804.02. VW01, vendor, $569,286.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bailey's aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Make a motion to pay the following bills for FY '23. KP Law, $4,153.81. New System Associated, $613.16. Amazon Business, $838.64. Buffon Cleaning, $40. Verizon, $147.17. Pine Ridge Technologies, $354. Quabog Valley Community Development Corporation, $4,589.32. Maya, $10,000.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously.
Make a motion to pay the following bills for FY '24. Northeast IT, $3,363.96. Paul Shepherdson Electric, $1,925. BG Mechanical Services, $1,012.66. Custom Drug Testing, $100. West Warren Water District, $14,899. Maya Liability, $109,082. Maya Workman's Comp, $19,131. Chubb, $26,653.
Second,
All in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Okay, minutes for June 1st and the 15th. Is that right? 1st and the 15th, the 4 p.m. and the 6 p.m.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the following minutes: June 1st, June 15th at 4 p.m., which was the school meeting, and June 15th at 6 p.m., which is a regular selectmen's meeting.
Second,
So June 1st was a regular meeting,
Yep.
and June 15th was the 4 o'clock meeting regarding the school. Get that passed, okay. All right, all in favor?
Richi Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. The motion passes unanimously. Town administrator report, excuse me, town administrator report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. Good evening. I just wanted to recap a couple of things that you guys just voted on. The Maya liability, Maya's workman's comp, and the Chubb's payments. Those are our annual payments. So those were sent out this month, July. The town will receive an early payment incentive, which is already deducted into these prices. The town also received rewards credits and also credits for an early prepayment credit as well. So that was all calculated into here. So that's the general liability, workers' comp, and Chubb's, which is injured on duty for police as well. So those are all within our budgetary numbers, because we just approved our budget. They were all within our budget. You'll have a little bit left over in the general liability of about $4,500 in that budget line item, but that is important to have for in case there's a need for the town gets a new vehicle, such as the Western Star that's coming from highway. We're going to have to insure that. So the premium is going to be a little bit more to insure a newer vehicle. So we're going to be charged, a few $100s more. So we'll have a little bit left in that line item to take care of, additional equipment that we buy throughout the year to offset the costs of additional insurance coverages for the town. So there's going to be about $4,500 left. So hopefully that will get us through the entire year with any additional new equipment that we purchase. So I just wanted to explain that to the board. Over the past week, it's been a very busy week, even though it's been a short one. And I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. We've been working internally here to close out fiscal year 23. So the accountant's office, the treasurer's office, the collector's office have all been working very hard with closing out fiscal year '23. Obviously, the collector's office just sent out the most recent preliminary tax bills, in the beginning of July. And so you have that aspect, so all the bills are out. And then, obviously, the treasurer's office is very busy with, breaking down the final numbers and coordinating and balancing off with the accountant to making sure that all the cash revenues and cash reconciliations are done correctly and balance out. So they're in the process of closing out the fiscal year '23 and starting fiscal year '24. They're also in the process of implementing VADAR. So VADAR is critically important for the town. They are working nonstop around the clock, whether it be getting trainings that they're doing, webinar trainings on the computer. They're doing it. It's a process, and I'm very cautiously optimistic that everything is running very smoothly right now. But again, things could change. There's hiccups when you get new software. Anything can happen, but we're monitoring it. We're right on top of it. So if there's any issues, we have plenty of trainings that we pre-purchased through VADAR that the town will be benefiting from, and the departments will be benefiting from. So they're working through that. Also, obviously, with closing out the fiscal year, we're looking at line items and different things, and I've been working with the Finance Committee throughout the year. The Finance Committee is meeting for the final time on line item transfers July 13th, next Thursday at 6 o'clock. So I will be divided between this meeting and that meeting and coming down stairs with potential requests for line item transfers. I don't anticipate there being many. I think that there's maybe going to be 3 or 4 more. So just to give you an analysis, this fiscal year '23, we are estimating approximately a total of 11 line item transfer requests. Last fiscal year '22, there was 38 line item transfer requests. A significant reduction, in line item transfer requests, and a significant reduction in the amount of money the line item transfer requests were requested. So in fiscal year '22, there was approximately $200,000 worth of line item transfer requests. Right now, we're teetering at about $46,000 in line item transfer requests. So a significant change from fiscal year '22 to '23.
Yeah.
And that's to the credit of everybody working very hard in this building, the finance team, all the assistants in each department, every department watching and monitoring. It's a real credit to their testament and to staying on top of their budget. Also with the help and the support of the Finance Committee as well. So that's something, a statistic to be proud of and to recognize, because that's hard work. And also with the dedication of recognizing, well, departments may have to submit for an article at the special town meeting. Articles are getting more, recognized by departments that they're important and that they need to be addressed at town meeting. So, an argument can be made that, well, you're expending all these funds in line item transfer requests, you should be doing this at town meeting. Well, we've reduced those numbers, and we're going to continue to try to work on that as we continue to streamline the budgetary process. Where we are with legal as compared to last year versus this year, I'm projecting about a $20,000 surplus in that line for this year as compared to last year. We had about, yes, knock on wood, yes. We had $131,000 last year spent between both law firms. I think Miracle Connell was a little bit more last year in terms of their, the overall cost. But between both law firms, we spent about $131,000 in legal fees. This year, we're projecting, we're hovering somewhere around the $80,000 mark. So again, a significant decrease. You know, we had line item transfer requests going into legal last year. We didn't have one this year, not one. So, you know, that coupled with the fact of internal controls through the legal process, you know, we sent out notices and memos to every department that, you know, when requesting legal, that they come through the town administrator's office so that we can track it and monitor it. So those are some protocols that we had put in place to kind of also offset that. And we also did get somewhat creative on some areas where instead of calling legal, maybe we can call a state agency if it's not severity, to try to figure out our answer to our problem instead of just always relying on legal. So that's, again, you know, a projected savings of about $25,000 in that line item alone. So, you know, those are some key takeaways from fiscal year 22 to 23 that I think that everybody should be proud of. And, you know, in looking back at, you know, fiscal year 23, you know, we left town meeting in May. I think we spent approximately $111,000 of free cash at town meeting in May. You know, we had, you know, available $629,000. So that free cash that wasn't spent will be rolled over into the new calculation for free cash come this fall. So we're going to have a significant, strong position for free cash this fall. I don't want to say it too loud. So we're going to be in a position to save for the future in terms of you know, stabilization and capital stabilization. So continue to make investments into our you know, into our unfunded liability lines. So you're going to have that flexibility you know, this year again. I don't know of an exact number as of yet. It's really too premature to try to talk about an estimated number of what we're looking at. But I'm suspecting that it's going to be strong. So you know, I think that there's a lot of work that has been done throughout the course of this fiscal year. We're currently working on employee evaluations. That process started the beginning or the second week of June. One takeaway from the whole process where we can do better next year is to maybe start the process a little bit earlier. So I think what we'll be doing, because as we see this approach, and again, this process, and I emphasize this to everybody we sat down with, it's not punitive. It's not to single anybody out. It's areas in where we can improve on and grow together. Okay, so you know, I think that took a little bit of the edge off of maybe people that maybe were skeptical with signing up or picking a date and time. So you know, we're going to continue to push that, to say that, you know, this is only to benefit you in the long run for potential step increases or promotions within the town. So you know, we've started the process. We're, I would say, about 80% done. There's still stuff that we need to touch up. Some of the you know, the evaluations need to be, some of the ratings need to be continuing to be done. There's some sign-offs that need to be done. There's some departments that have not been done because of vacations and people were out. But we have them preliminarily scheduled, and we're going to complete the process within the next week or two. So that's something that, again, the town Some departments may have had a process, others may have not. Some departments may have had their own, form, and it was different than the other department who had their form. This form, as you look at it, is very generic and can really equate to any position in town government, giving some very generic bullet points to look at. And so I think it's fair across the board, and it can be universally accepted. I think that we're continuing to close out the end of this fiscal year. It's a big process, and we're going to continue to be working towards the final close. But again, just as a reminder to departments, make sure that you check that any outstanding bills that they may have, because once the books are closed by the accountant for fiscal year 23, come July 15th or 16th, they're going to be closed, and then that bill would have to be paid at a special town meeting.
Anything else, sir? Good. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No.
No, sir?
Okay. New business. Anybody have any new business?
I do not.
Nope. No new business.
Old business.
No old business.
No old
Chiefs, where's the radio stand?
Actually, I'm glad you said that. So I'm pleased to say that we've made a tremendous amount of progress. The FCC, as I reported last time, was able to track it to the agency that was using the frequency that was jamming up, specifically the fire department for the most part. This was, I can't emphasize it enough, this was an extremely strong signal that was crushing our transmissions about 75% of the time. So it was a very serious issue that we identified very quickly once we moved to the new system, and the strength that it has and the elevation that it has. We worked with all parties involved, including the entity that was in the western part of the state. The FCC, our engineers that designed our system, they all did, honestly, a great job. It took a few weeks to get there, but there's a lot of hurdles when it comes to dealing with the FCC and people's regulations and stuff. And actually, the entity that we were dealing with had been licensed from the early 70s as opposed to us from the early 2000s. So, so there was some back and forth there. They needed to understand exactly what was going on. But as of this point, they have made an agreement to terminate that particular frequency that they were using. I haven't got it in writing that it's a permanent thing, but my understanding at this point that that is the intention, that they were going to terminate it if it was going to have a vast improvement. And they did this on Friday afternoon. I was notified that they shut that frequency off, and all weekend long I listened. I was on different calls. We had one prolonged fire call that we were on for hours. I talked through that whole event on a portable without a single issue. So it looks at this point like that was exactly what the problem was. Both engineers from the FCC and our side of things identified it. It was a problem with their power. It was a problem with how they were using it. And at this point, it looks like it's been rectified. So as nothing else comes forward, our system should be functioning the way it was intended to and designed to. So that's a huge improvement for us. And like I said, over the weekend, we're hearing Rutland crystal clear for the first time ever. We're hearing our transmissions in and out of the local hospitals for the first time ever. I'm getting phone calls that they can hear us down 495 and stuff, and way out that way without problems. I've stood on the Mass Pike and talked on a portable at my residence. So these are all things we never could do before. So it's clearly a huge upgrade for us, and we're going to continue to monitor it. There will be small tweaks that we're going to do from time to time. We may adjust the power on one tower or decrease power on another one to tweak it. And the final thing that we're looking at, the little bit of money that's left in it, we're going to encumber that because we have a couple of those small things that we're working on at the center of town where we can put a receiver in there, which will even further coverage in the buildings themselves in the downtown area. So, we're using every little last dime in the way that the system was designed to make sure we get that done, but there's a huge improvement, and it seems to have caused everything to clear up, and it seems to be working functionally now.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Carrie has her hand up, so I don't know, she might have had a question on the town administrator report, or?
No? Okay.
Carrie?
Carrie, did you have a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
We
Yep.
can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All the fans in my house are going, so it's gonna be weird, but I just wanted to touch base on software change. Things are going, it's a painstaking process. It's like a check all the numbers, check all the numbers, check all the numbers, parallel posts, and there's a lot going on. But everything so far, so good. We got the preliminary bills out for the first and second quarters, and everything looks good, and people, are seeming to understand the bills. If they have any questions, they can call me, phone number, email, everything is right there. But yeah, so far so good. I just wanted to chime in and say that, and also the fiscal year wrap up, that doesn't happen within 1 week of the end of the fiscal year. That's like a several week process, getting things going and getting things figured out, but yeah, no, finance team is doing well, I just wanted to know Vadar was going on.
Very good. And that's
If
with
anybody
Vadar,
has
right?
questions about their bills, if anybody has questions about their bills, you can call, send me an email, come on into the office, and we'll, straighten it right out, okay?
Very
So,
good.
Carrie, I have a question.
Hey.
Can you put the tax rate on the bills? The old bills had the tax rate.
So because these are preliminary bills, they're estimated bills. They are not based
Oh,
on
I
the
see.
tax rate. They're
Okay.
based on the previous year bills. We don't set the tax rate until the November special town meeting typically. I guess it's not set in stone that we have to have one, but we've always had one. And at that point, that's where, as you guys know, we finalize the money that the town is going to spend to support the town government. And at that point, we set the tax rate.
Okay.
So because that doesn't come until late in the year, the first 2 quarters are based on the preliminary, the previous tax year bill. And then your first quarter will be 1 quarter of your previous year's tax bill, your second quarter will be 1 quarter of your previous year's tax bill. Then we set the tax rate, do all the math, and then, sorry to say it, but then we take the hit for the third and fourth quarters.
So at that point, the tax rate will be on the bill, though?
At that point, the tax rate and your valuation, your acreage, and your, all of that stuff will be on the tax bill.
Okay.
At that third and fourth quarter. So we call those the actuals. But yes, at that point, then you'll see all the basis for your full fiscal year tax bill.
Okay. Thank you.
All right?
Thank you, Carrie.
Sure. Have a great weekend.
You too. Okay. Anybody else have any old business left? No? Okay, correspondence. We had the Warren Library. We had summer reading instructions for 2023. This will be posted on our website, or is it already?
Wait, this is West Warren Library.
West
For West Warren Library.
It says Warren.
Sorry. It's West Warren Library. Okay, next thing is National Grid information. We got some information from them also about safety and some other details going on about the meters and things like that. There's a whole bunch of information on there, so we'll have that on our website for individuals to look at if they have any questions about any National Grid information. Comcast, we got correspondence about them, and they are changing a bunch of the channels. I'm not gonna read them all here, but they are changing them as of August 3rd, 2023. Various programming changes will occur as further detailed below. And that's changing PEG channels.
It's a lot, it's 3 pages, and it will be on the website.
And a bunch of other stuff there, and that's gonna be on the website. Okay. Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities, request for comments for a Zoom meeting on July 20th. That will also be on our website for public comments, and there's several pages for that also. There's 3 pages of information on that subject if you want to participate in a public hearing request for comments. And that is with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Okay, do we have any comments and concerns?
I do not.
I may be absent next week.
What?
I don't know, it's not for sure yet, but it's a maybe. And then, looks like we're gonna go for a family trip end of July, first weeks of August.
Very good.
I'm out the 27th anyway, so maybe we'll,
Well, we didn't do the summer calendar where we could go every other week.
Yeah, we should probably look at that too. We gotta do every week, or we gotta do every other week?
Well, we have to do the 13th because we have to do encumberment and pay the final bills for 2023. And any kind of encumberment we need to do. So we need to have a meeting on the 13th. It could be a very short one, but we need to.
So we could take the 20 and the 27th off?
So then we'd be 2 weeks, so we'd be 3 weeks before we had a meeting.
Why would it be 3 weeks? If we had one on the 13th, right?
13th, and then your 20th, 27th, is 2 weeks. And then by the time you get to the third one, it's gonna be in August. But August,
well, no, we'd meet
Third.
on August 3rd, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's,
And then we
that would be
could,
like 3 weeks.
yeah.
You really want to meet, don't you?
No,
You just love seeing us.
I do. My whole week is made up when I get to see you and Derek. Typically we do every other week, but,
Yeah.
if we don't have quorum, we don't have quorum. you know.
So the 27th is definitely not.
So you're talking about the end of the week of July, right? So let's, no meetings for the 27th.
okay?
And then the 13th, we have to meet,
Yep.
okay? You're not gonna be here the 13th?
I may not,
You may
50/50.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just giving a heads up.
So I definitely need you here to have quorum.
Okay.
And then you're here the 20th.
I am. Maybe we take the 20th off. Oh, no,
Again,
that's what we were
back
talking
we're into
about.
3 weeks again.
That's right. Never mind.
Can we risk being away for 3 weeks? Not that anybody listens to us on anything anyways. We are 2 repeat offenders over here. I'm sure they'd like to not be here for a couple weeks.
Joe apparently took it.
I know, where's Joe?
He didn't even check with us. Unbelievable.
Maybe we should drive by his house and check on him.
Yeah.
We'll just show up there.
Go ahead. Count me out.
How about we decide the 20th on the 13th?
Okay.
But we know for sure we'll all be out on the 27th.
Yeah. Derek, are you back on the 3rd or maybe not?
I think we're going up 4 weeks out, but I have to
You
check
going for
first.
4 weeks?
Yeah, probably.
Really? Who's better than you?
I know, what's
I'm
all-
trying to reduce
What
it.
kind of life do you have?
But family's trying to stretch it.
You know what, if you can do
A
that, do it,
4-week
right?
vacation.
Well,
I haven't had any vacation the last 4 years.
What's a weekend vacation like? Yeah, so we know the 27th,
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll meet on the 13th because we have to.
I may join you in Zoom, depends on where I am.
Well, don't worry about it. You get your day off, you get your day off. You get time off. You know? I may eventually take a day off someday too.
Good.
We'll see.
The 27th.
The 27th.
Yeah.
You're kind of forced to.
There we go. All right. So our next meeting is going to be on the 13th. Do we have any other comments and concerns
No, sir?
other than scheduling? Gentlemen? Nothing?
I can bring up one thing if you don't mind.
Sure.
As the board is probably aware, we did have a flooding event over the weekend.
Beaver Dam broke again.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
Yeah.
did. So we were there for several hours. I did talk to Jim preliminarily about that. Obviously, I did hear from some property owners in that area that, where is this again? We've lost track of it. Is this, so for what it's worth, I believe it was Tuesday morning, I just happened to get lucky enough to see a Divisions of Fisheries and Wildlife vehicle drive by me in the center of town, heading that way. So I actually followed them up to North Street and I had a discussion with them there. It happened to be the department head, but basically he's in charge of this entire region that happened to be there. They were unaware that it happened, so I did get his information. I believe that Jeremy has worked or talked with him in the past. I just offered maybe to put it on a future agenda to have the discussion once again, so it doesn't fall off the radar as to who, what can be done, steps that can be taken to alleviate some of these things. I can certainly pass that information along to Jim so he can make contact with the gentleman that would be the first point of contact for that department through the state. This time we got relatively lucky. It was relatively minimal damage. However, we have had a couple events in the past that it's been worse. It's damaged 67, it's damaged personal property. So, for what it's worth, it's probably, time to have that discussion again and see maybe if there is other avenues that weren't available at one time that we might be able to do now and alleviate some of the, potential damage going forward for the town, the state, and other entities. I'd be happy to forward that to Jim if that's okay with the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's follow up with it. And I know we increased the budget for beaver, nuisance beaver trapping.
Problem is that state.
Huh?
That's state.
I know. So the problem with the state
State owns
is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
last we were given is we would be allowed to have a trapper up there, but the trapper would have to be using the animal for a specific purpose. It can't be trapped for nuisance. It can be trapped for fur, or if they want to eat the beaver. People eat beavers. Beaver tail is a delicacy in some places. I particularly don't like it. It's
Never tried it.
an acquired taste. Tastes like chicken.
Rotten chicken.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
But we can't trap them because they're nuisance, because it's the state and it won't allow them to, unless that's changed. But because they're building their dam on state property, and it's not town property, but yet everything flows downhill from it. So when the beaver dam breaks, it's the town that suffers. State, it's just, a pond, to them up there. So it's difficult to deal with up there. But yeah, it'd be nice to get an update on it. We should definitely talk about that here soon. Is Jeremy around yet?
No,
Will he be around for the 13th?
possibly. It's cutting it close. He's
How
in
much vacation he
Hawaii.
get too?
Well,
I can pass the information to Jim. Maybe Jim can make
Yeah.
contact and see what the schedule is for the gentleman there. He seemed like he was be approachable to obviously having a conversation first with the board and Jim, and then whatever, maybe come to a meeting or whatnot. But tomorrow I'll pass that information along, so.
yeah, I think Jeremy comes home that Monday.
Yeah, he's not going.
Yeah, I think
We'll see.
I think he gets home on the 10th, I think.
That's plenty of
Yeah,
time
see
to
if we
do
can
that.
get some information from Jeremy too on what the progress is with the beaver trapping. I know that the trappers don't like to trap during the summer because it's very hard to identify where the beavers are gonna come up, and the traps that are used are usually put in slides, the mud slides that they create, and with the ice, it creates a unique gap for them to go in, and they can target those areas to get the beavers. And when they trap them, you want to be able to trap them and keep them cold, so you can utilize them. The problem with trapping them during the summer is if you don't get to them quick enough, other animals get to them and feed on them, and the meat goes bad, the fur goes bad, so you can't use it for any purpose. So it's hard to trap them during the summer. There's more complications to it, but we'll see.
But if your intent was to trap them for fur and it just happened that they.
Well, if your intent's to trap them for fur and it's on state land and
But, stuff happens.
and then trapping season for certain things is only open during certain times.
Yeah,
So
there
you
is
have
a
to go
season
within
for
the
trapping,
season.
and it is not during the
I
summer.
had a landowner
Mhm.
one day mentioned to me that they will be willing to give up a little bit of space of the land to create like a retention pond or something in case this happens again. Do you think that's something
What do
feasible?
you mean? Well, the last thing we need is more beaver ponds.
Yeah, but their land is right next to the affected area,
Yeah.
and they said, if you build something over here, so if it
Well, you build it bigger
But it
and more
doesn't.
beavers will come. That's the problem is there's no natural predators as the beavers, and they're overtaking land.
Yeah, it will be like an empty.
Oh, he's talking about like a basin or something.
Yes.
Like a basin,
Yes.
But the problem is
you're probably
how
gonna
big is
add
that
more
basin
water.
Gotta be.
I don't know. That's why they don't know either. We don't know either. I don't know either. They just said that they offer a piece of their property to build something, so next time it comes down, we can retain some water and
Yeah, I
the.
don't know.
So the problem with that is once anything, and we get into anything like that, especially if the town gets into it, it becomes the town's problem now. Because right now, it's just an act of nature, but if we do anything to mitigate it, like create an additional habitat space for, and then that ruins somebody's home, because now
It wasn't
they're
big
holding
enough.
back more water than they were, and more water gets sent down, and that damages somebody, because we did something, that would be a problem. Because that was one of the things we were looking at with the, when we were looking at doing the beaver deceiver.
Beaver deceiver.
So the beaver deceiver there is, when we were looking at that, once we altered the beaver dam, then the town assumes responsibility.
Because we'd have to maintain that and make sure
Right.
it's cleaned out. And if we don't, and it fails again, then it's on us.
And all that would do is create a water channel going underneath the dam, but if the beaver turned around and then decided like, oh, okay, there's
I
there's a
don't-
hole, and starts plugging that up, or creates a bigger dam or a secondary dam somewhere
Well, this
else,
person has the land right next to the road, down at the bottom.
but everything flows downhill.
But I think what David's saying is, for example, if they built a container to contain the water as it came down, and it wasn't enough, and it destroyed a house, and we're the ones that did it, then the town would be responsible.
That's a good point.
So
Once
that's,
we do anything,
I just brought the
the
message.
town's the one with the money, so
I'm
they
just
come
the
after us.
messenger.
Yeah, I think you'd have to have a basin that's probably equal in capacity, because there's like 3 ponds, it's not just one. So you'd almost have to have like a basin that was like an acre big.
And then you also,
Nightmare.
you can't move any of the animals there. Say like, okay, it's bad where you're building this here, but we're gonna catch you and put you over here and let you build over here, because you can't relocate wildlife.
I don't think it's relocating,
No.
it's just trying to catch the water when the dam does.
Just,
break.
yeah, what he's talking, yeah.
So you
just
wouldn't
trying to
touch
It's like a
those
big
beavers.
retaining pond that
A
will,
retention pond, yeah.
or somehow to, retains the water and directs it somewhere to save the homes. It's like putting a dam, a wall so it doesn't destroy the houses.
Yeah.
But-
Then what if the beavers decide to build there too?
No, no, no,
But
no,
there's no
no.
water, it's dry.
It's dry unless the dam breaks.
Yeah, it's there to get,
So
to
it's,
catch the water.
so you've got your dam up here, and then you've got this pond down here. So this dam breaks, they come down, it goes into this pond instead of going over the
It's not a
road.
pond, it's just a hole.
I know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
A big
hole.
hole.
yeah, retention.
But if it wasn't big enough, then you might have caused another problem by flooding the houses.
Yeah.
Because once we change it, do something to it, we own it. The only thing we can do is keep on taking care of the beavers, and we can only do so much of that.
Yeah, it's
Because,
like,
back in previous meetings, we may take out 5 or 10 beavers. Well, there's another 20 that are all having babies, and it's like, so you're just chipping away at the problem, and they just go over there and they just take over.
No, I understand, I'm just a messenger. Owner offered land to do something to help prevent.
it's a good idea, but
Yeah.
It will be hard to make it
Yeah.
happen.
yeah.
Okay, time's up.
All right, so our next meeting is July 13th, 2023, and that will be at the regular scheduled time, and that will be at 6 o'clock. And
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
all in favor?
Guy Hacker, aye.
Derek Bellis, aye.
David Dufresne, aye. We are adjourned. Okay.